Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Stork Naked, and with me today is the Drunken Stork himself. Well, not really, but anyway, it's my good friend Luke Perkins. Say hi.
You want to know something, Anthony? I really don't know why I chose this short.
You're stuck with it. But hey, you get to do the whole idea though, so at least you're compensated, okay? So we will get to that one for sure. But yeah, just a few bits of info to get underway. So as mentioned, this is a review for Stork Naked, released on the 26th February 1955. It's the 733rd in the series, and it's directed by Friz Freleng. You can find this beautiful restoration. Well, initially it came out on the Looney Tunes Superstars Daffy DVD set, but it was cropped and people complained, and rightly so, because that's not how you're supposed to watch this. However, we finally got a proper release on physical media on the recently released, at the time of this recording, the Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 4 Blu-ray set as a bonus short. After watching this short, I'm wondering, should they have even bothered? But anyway, it is under copyright. Can't show you the full cartoon here due to copyright. Only Warner Brothers themselves can do it on their own channel. If they choose to do so, I don't know why they would, but they could, okay? But in case you haven't seen this one, the Drunken Stork comes to the home of Mr. and Mrs. Daffy Duck with a bundle of joy, but Daffy wants no more children and takes extreme measures, and we mean extreme measures, to keep this stork away. Yeah.
You say no more children, but we don't see one child there at all.
You mean animation budget cuts could be the play here? That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, next year you'll be telling me that instead of doing a whole redesign for Mrs. Daffy Duck, they just took Daffy's design and just put a little bow on top. I mean, that's just crazy, right? So in terms of trivia for this one, it's interesting seeing Daffy's history when it comes to potential partners and whatever, because one time he was married, that woman wanted a divorce, you had him having a girlfriend on the beach once. There's been quite a few different girlfriends.
There's also the stupid Cupid. There was a little short backstory that was basically of how he actually got shot by Cupid one time, and he basically got stuck in a shotgun wedding and had a bunch of kids.
So I guess if you watch that short and then this one, you might be a little bit more understanding as to why he doesn't want any more children, assuming this is the same Mrs. Daffy Duck, and probably not. This could be his third wife for all we know. I don't know. There's no continuity to these things, but it's hilarious to think about just all the inconsistencies throughout the history and different directors and such. But we got some real trivia for this one though. The title itself is a play on the saying Stark Naked. Now, what's interesting about the Drunken Stork character is on his first appearance. This is his third appearance. Unlike the other shorts though, he starts off sober in this one, and basically he sounds like Mel Blanc. That's like close to his natural voice. But then as he progresses through delivering all these babies all over the world, I mean, that's some Stork, you know, being able to fly so far, he ends up getting drunker and drunker until he's just drunkenly saying my next bit of trivia, which is that saying he was saying. That's basically the postal motto, neither rain, no hail, and so on. But he adds his own drunken spin to it.
And I wanted to add something, and this is mainly just on the conception of the storks in general. You're gonna have that inevitable awkward conversation of the birds and the bees. A lot of cartoons as well, they like to do that a lot constantly with the stork bringing the baby. I know that the Hays Code is probably one of the reasons because, you know, you can't show a character having sex and getting pregnant. Dumbo did this too, but it was up until 1955, Disney's Lady and the Tramp, in which we start to see a more natural reveal of someone being pregnant and having a baby.
There's definitely the Hays Code kind of thing, but I would say that the Drunken Stork must have been popular enough to warrant being reused a few times by Friz Freleng, because, I mean, why else bring your character back, right? This stork is drunk, and of course he's going to make these silly mistakes, and you got a great premise for a cartoon, so why not do it? It's actually a decent idea, I think.
One more piece of trivia. This was one of many Friz Freleng shorts that was remade into one of the cartoons of the Patty Freleng, the god-awful Dogfather series. And because there were so many shorts remade there, I don't even know the title of that specific remake.
What? Those are masterpieces. The Dogfather's brilliant. I will not have you on my show. No, I'm kidding. I will not have you put down the Dogfather. With this short, I saw it a while back on that horribly cropped Superstars set, and I didn't really remember much of it, so I revisited the short recently in that Collector's Choice set, and now, of course, for this review, and I've got to be honest, I don't know how to feel about this short. There's just something about this that just made me feel this is like empty calories. I watched it and I'm like, look, the gags are funny. It's actually got a lot of good gags in it. Like, it's not like it's a terrible short, because it's not. There's actually a lot of good things in it. But by the end of it, it just felt like, I just shrugged and went, okay, it's a short, I guess. And all I can think of is maybe I just don't really like too much how far Freeling has now made Daffy less of the goofy type, and he's more of, well, a prick, really. Because Jones, of course, had the character evolve, but at least in those shorts, he still has an element of fun. Whereas Freeling seemed to go much further, and there's like next to no element of fun. It's just him being angry. I'm not a big fan of this Daffy, where Freeling just went too far as compared to what Jones did. But still, as I said, there is a lot to like about this one, and I'll be definitely curious to hear what people's thoughts are on this short below. And I remember seeing that this was announced as a bonus cartoon, and I'm thinking, really? This one? Okay, sure.
As for me, I saw it in its entirety for the first time this morning for this review particularly. I don't know how to feel, because, like, it's not terrible. It's really more of a kind of exists good enough sort of cartoon, but there is definitely some stuff in it that I noticed that is pretty weird.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of weirdness in this one, that's for sure, but yeah. Let's go through the short. Maybe as we go through it again for this review, we can sort of maybe pinpoint some of the bits we liked and didn't like and try and get a better answer as to why we didn't feel like, oh my goodness, this is a hidden gem. This is something everyone has to see right now. I like how it opens up, and it starts off pretty quick in terms of setting everything up, where you got Mel Blanc's normal voice for the Stork, as I mentioned before, complaining about how there are more babies.
What a load. Used to be one baby at a time. Now it's a bunch of them every trip. Production's at an all-time high. Just not enough storks to keep up with them, I guess.
I guess I gotta put this in perspective for people. You know the term boomers, that comes from baby boomers, and baby boomers itself comes from this time period. You had people coming back from not just World War II, but even the Korean War. And what do male soldiers, because it was just men in the army at the time, women could only be nurses. When men came back, saw their wives back home, I'm sure you can all guess what happened. And I'm sure you can all guess what the result of that happening was. And the Stork became really busy, as we'll soon see him traveling all over the world. Say what you want about this short, even if you get someone that hates this one, and I can understand why you would, you can't deny it. This looks great. The backgrounds are really nice. 50s stylized. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, the backgrounds by Irv Weiner are really nice to look at. What's interesting is that they go from being sometimes lush and then completely stylish, because every single detail is not present, and sometimes the house can be fully one color entirely. Like the first house that the Stork goes to, and the first one he's flying around, all has pink around it except for a few black and white lines.
Yeah, so it's an interesting look, but and again, if people don't like this short for whatever reason, they can at least appreciate how it looks. So first up, we see a bit of a cameo of sorts. We see Mr. and Mrs. Pierce, and that's clearly a reference to Ted Pierce, who's a writer, who was the main writer of the studio. He was kind of on and off around this point because he did some work at UPA and stuff, but he was definitely a well-known name.
He would then become like the main writer of the McKimson unit later on.
Yep, and we hear the name Wanda, and that really was the name of Ted Pierce's wife. Her name was Wanda, which I thought was very interesting.
Let's see, Pierce. Oh, apartment B, apartment B. Hey, Wanda! It's the Stork! Come right in!
I wonder if, were they expecting a baby at the time or something? I don't know, like, why they were using this short, but they're there, so there is that. But we get a very long pause for this Stork to drink and get drunk, and I guess it's one way to avoid animating for like, 15, 20 seconds or whatever it was. But this joke has a dark connotation, though, if you're in the know, because Ted Pierce, from what I understand, had a problem with drinking. So the fact he's offering a drink or whatever just makes you wonder how much drink he actually had in his home, so, you know.
Either that, or it was just a somehow giant glass.
How about a toast to the new baby? Don't mind if I do. Say when. When? One thing about this job. Everyone's always glad to see the Stork.
But they go to Paris, and I love the design of Paris, of course, and, you know, we got to bring the champagne, vintage 1928, so that would have been vintage even back in the 50s. That would have been interesting, and pre-war too, because don't forget, Paris was in World War II during the Nazi occupation. But anyway, we're going way too deep into it instead of a drunken Stork with that.
Yvonne, it is the Stork. Bring the champagne, vintage 28. Well, since it's vintage 28, maybe just one.
In the next bit, he ends up back in America where we're in a Native American teepee. Of course, drink the fire water. And of course, yes, we know this is not an appropriate scene for today. It is what it is. We move on.
Puss, make 'em big toast with fire water.
Well, let's see now. What do we got left? Well, an egg.
But we're 2 minutes in, we see all this happening, and we finally get to the main story where the Stork is now all drunk and he just has to deliver one egg. Now we see Daffy, and he's married to Daphne.
Her name was Daffy? I literally
Yeah.
thought it was just Daffy.
Then again, with Daffy's ego at the time, I wouldn't be surprised if he married someone with the same name as him, but in any case...
It kind of sounded like Daffy. I didn't know it was Daphne.
Yeah, no, definitely Daphne. And speaking of voices, Mel Blanc does all the voices here, yes, including Daffy's wife.
Good morning, Daphne, old girl. What's this? Knitting a sweater? Well, very thoughtful of you.
But Daffy, it's not.
I always love when Mel Blanc does a woman's voice. Pitched up, of course. It's definitely him. And that all comes from Keith Scott's Cartoon Voices book.
Oh, he actually kind of got better with the female voices a bit. Wow.
Yeah. But in this case, it was also pitched up a bit, so that definitely helps, of course. But I like how Daffy has a pipe. I actually like the way he looks here. He may be a prick in this short, but I just like how he looks, like this homely sort of thing. It looks funny.
I kind of like seeing cartoon characters that kind of have, like, whether it be like a little bathrobe or like a smoking pipe. It's a fun design thing for me. Yeah, I think the sequence with Daffy and Daphne was animated by Virgil Ross. It definitely has a solidity around it. I do know a lot of the more frantic animation with the traps and stuff. That was definitely Arthur Davis, and I think even if this short is not very good, I think this has some of Arthur Davis's funniest animation he ever did in the Freeling unit.
We get a gag where Daffy, again, being egotistical by this point, thinking that shirt is for him and it's too small. Don't you think it's a little too tight? And now Daffy's gets all, look how angry he is when he finds out that the Stork's going to deliver another child. He is angry. Look at him.
There's a little moment where it's like, wait, the Stork is coming? Oh, that guy. Yeah, he gets angry immediately.
Don't you think this might be a size or so too small?
But Daffy, that sweater's not for you. I'm making it for the little visitor that's coming.
Visitor? Oh, it's that Stork again! I'll give that Stork a reception he won't forget!
One thing that cracks me up about some of these cartoon characters and their philosophies is that in certain shorts, whenever the baby gets involved, you would have characters like Bugs Bunny or Porky Pig or Sylvester and even probably Foghorn Leghorn. There are certain shorts where they have to take care of the baby. I think Mother Was a Rooster is an example where they are more than willing to become the father immediately. Meanwhile, with this short, Daffy Duck just immediately goes to war and just makes a whole bunch of traps. That's post-war Americana, baby.
One of the funniest bits here is all that setup he does. So he makes these gun turrets, the guillotine, and all that dedication with flooding the basement, actually ordering in the gators, all this elaborate setup. But I like the fact we got all this setup and Daffy's he's not going to come in now. And the Stork just wanders in. He's already on the roof. So I thought that was pretty funny. I definitely chuckled at that part. The big build up and he's just there. He also sets up at the bottom of the chimney that little trampoline thing, which is not as deadly, I think.
That Stork will never break through this little black duck's defenses.
Neither snow nor rain nor sleet nor slush stays us couriers
Hey,
from our
Buster,
appointed
we don't want any. Take it back.
The gag with the Stork casually just walking through the roof while Daffy is using a scanner, that's another Arthur Davis shot.
Yep, and it's we don't want any. Take it back. The way Daffy is he's really pissed. He really doesn't want this Stork to be there.
Oh, lucky.
So Daffy ends up opening up a hatch. Again, how did he even set that up so quickly? But we'll put that aside. And he ends up calling them like the Santa's reindeers.
Down, Snapper, down, Blitzen, down, Prancer, down, boy!
You even gave him names? It's like, why would you even give names? But anyway, he does.
It's funny because Friz Freeling and Chuck Jones loved the down boy, down, 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 down joke. They loved using that so much. Friz Freeling used that a lot.
Yeah, it definitely did. And also, he sets up the rug. So he obviously intends the Stork to walk over it and fall to his doom, right? You know, so basically he's looking to commit murder, basically, a cartoon. You know, that's how dark it is if you really think about it. But no, the Stork just walks around the rug. You already know there's going to be a payoff later on. It's just a matter of when. Daffy, of course, rushes him out, forgets that there's a rug, falls through to the Crocs.
Duck, I brought you glad tidings.
Ow, ow, kiddo! Ow, 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 ow!
And look how weird Daffy's eyes are when he gets up from the basement if you freeze frame that. It's just so weird how he looks in that one shot.
That looks like an Arthur Davis shot, I think. It's not as loose, but yeah, the facial expression is great. Those little dot eyes, that killed me. It looks like a funny storyboard drawing, somehow making it to animation.
So the Stork avoids a gun in one window, but he ends up going in another, and somehow, again, Daffy's so prepared. He really doesn't want this Stork to enter. He's got a cannon. I mean, I found myself laughing at this, like, unintentionally. The Stork gets in, he gets blasted, but this Stork is so wasted. He's so drunk, he doesn't even realize what's happening. Just his reaction to it is just,
Thing I'll definitely give credit to is that the Stork is still dedicated to giving this baby to him. He is dedicated.
based on his motto that he keeps mumbling and adding to, which is, again, as I mentioned before, based on the Postal Service motto. But we then get another gag, which I've seen Friz do a few times, and he'll no doubt do it more times in the future, where the Stork tries to get in through the door, but the door is open, the Stork gets in, there's a rubber band that's in the back that was already pre-done. Kind of weird. And then the two smash through. It's just a weird gag.
I found a really funny frame of Daffy on the door when the Stork comes in. And then there's this one in-between frame where his eyes are the opposite of crossed.
Some drawings in this one are very odd if you pay close attention to it.
What in the Sam Hill is keeping that darn Stork?
The gag is just okay, but I do like the callback joke, because we got the Stork deciding that he's going to go through the basement. He opens it up, oh, the alligators are there. He's like, oh, no, and that's it. As the audience, you're like thinking, oh yeah, I remember that he still has gators down there. He didn't get rid of them. They're still hungrier as well. But Daffy's so pissed off, he's running after him with an axe. I mean, he wants to murder this Stork. This is really asshole Daffy right here. We're in that period right now. But here's a weird gag, though. Daffy chops down the wire, and the pole falls down, right? But here's the thing. Daffy seems to have forgotten that he's a bird. I mean, why doesn't he just fly down? Why does he have to stay there and smash right through? He could just fly. He's a bird. But anyway, it's even funnier because we'll point out something in just a moment.
Put a little pin on that. We'll get to it. Don't you worry.
Exactly. Now, the egg is hatching, and Daffy sees the egg run in, and he actually nearly gets dropped by the guillotine. He set up a guillotine earlier, and there was no payoff for it, but here we are, there's the payoff there. Most of the audience would have forgotten that in any case. But here's an abrupt ending for you. So the egg hatches. It's a baby Stork, so we get that little punchline, which is kind of weird. And then all of a sudden, Daffy can now remember he can fly. Remember before, he just doesn't fly, but now he can. And then he just goes back to the Storks for a taste of their own medicine, and we just abruptly end there.
This is the thing I noticed when watching this for the first time this morning. It's weird enough that the Stork is a baby that looks like Daffy, but he's also drunk like the Stork. Like, okay, like that would have been funny enough. But when you get to the shot of Daffy flying, it's like, oh, he's going to get a taste of his own medicine. After that line, it starts to iris out. And then he starts opening his mouth again, and it almost feels like there was an ending that was cut. It feels like the ending was already animated and inked and painted, but then the ending was cut probably because the producers probably didn't like it.
It's possible. It's information lost to time. So, in rewatching this for the review, we've gone through it again. I still feel empty about it. I think, ending aside, there should have been a stronger ending. I think we agree on that. But maybe it's just I'm not a big fan of Freeling's later Daffy, and I'm really not. And I'm sure there might be one or two shorts out there maybe I might enjoy somewhat, but this one, it just feels a bit too mean-spirited.
The short feels like either business as usual or incomplete. That's how it feels to me.
I think it just needed something. It's missing that X factor. Now, is it the worst short in the world? Of course not. There's a lot of funny bits in it. We were definitely laughing at quite a bit of it. But it just felt like it needed something more. So, I don't know. This one, 7.5 out of 10. It looks great. I love the animation. Yeah, 7.5 for me.
I'm debating on 6 to 7 out of 10. There's definitely some good gags, and I love the Arthur Davis animation in the short. But it's such an odd one, and not usually in a good way in a lot of the other Looney Tunes shorts. It's just business as usual, I feel.
This one's okay. It's just middle of the road. You know, simple as that. But in any case, that will do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And until next time, make sure you keep that Stork away. No more babies. Two's enough.
You my
For once, that Stork's gonna get a dose of his own medicine.